Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and as you can see, this isn't quite the end of Pokemon White. As once you beat Ghetsis, the story is over, but we are sent back to New Vemetown, where, well, we still have actually quite a lot to do. New areas to explore, new Pokemon to catch, and here's my party. Now, what you might notice here is that these Pokemon are up to level 55. Now, that is because there was a slight error with my previous save file, so essentially I had to play the game again and recreate my old party. But anyway, back to the actual game. I have two mothers now, which is great. You know, one to cook, one to clean. I'm joking, of course. Oh, hello, Pokemon Platinum character. Yeah, this is Lucca. You know, you might think there's never any police around when you need them, but anyway, now we have Lucca, who turns up after the big crisis is over. Yeah, thanks for clearing up the mess, buddy, but I already defeated the criminal team, thank you very much. But yet, Lucca here, who was a character in Pokemon Platinum, a police officer, I believe. Now, in that game, he was tracking down Team Plasma. No, he was tracking down Team Galactic. And in this one, it's Team Plasma. And now he gives us the Super Rod, which will allow us to do fishing on various water routes. Which in later generations, the fishing rod is generally used as a way to keep previous generation of Pokemon hidden. Like, for example, with this fishing rod, we can probably catch like Shelder and Poliwhirls, and Dratinis even. And of course, giving it to us once we've completed the game is a way of keeping those Pokemon hidden until we've, well, completed the game, of course. Oh, hello, you two. Yes. I like how Bianca brings up the fact that she was actually going to get the Straighten City gym leaders, which I mentioned, which is why there are 3 missing spots when all the gym leaders come together. And here they give us a clue of where to go, and that's to go to Nimbasa City and head to Route 16, which is to the right. But yeah, at this point the game actually becomes quite open-worlded. Like, there is a certain route you can go to, but yeah, now you can explore the entire world. I always like this post-game stuff in modern Pokemon games. It just, well, gives you something to do after you've completed the main story. And something you might be wondering about is that, well, we defeated the Elite Four, but we didn't get to face the champion Olga. And yep, that's what you do in the post-story now. You actually become the actual champion, which is kind of odd because, yeah, technically we didn't beat the champion, so we're not the Pokemon Master. That was interrupted by N. So that's I wonder if that's the first post-game Pokemon story where you actually finish off the story in a sense. Anyway, you talk to Professor Juniper here. That's something I didn't show off, but as you fill up the Pokédex and capture more Pokemon, she will give you TMs. Some of them quite useful. Such as TM Full Swipe, which will do a certain amount of damage, but it will never knock out a Pokemon. It will always leave them with 1 HP. The idea being that it's really good for capturing Pokemon. TM Hidden Power. Now, what kind of type that move is, or its power, depends on the stats of your Pokemon. Like, so for a grass type, it could be like a poison type move, or something to that effect. Now, I just head into this city here to deposit Schwarzenegger, because I want to bring in David Mitchell again, and have my traditional party all together again. I really haven't got much use out of this Pokemon PC, have I? But then again, my demands are small. In fact, if you look at the series, they used to have this caption, "Gotta catch 'em all," which they obviously dropped because they realised that's quite a difficult task. As you can see in this new game I had to recreate, I did go back and capture all the same legendaries again. Try to keep it as consistent as possible. Now, as Sage mentioned before, we need to find the 6 sages who got away during that epic battle, of course. Speaking of which, I thought it was the gym leader's job to keep an eye on those guys, but yes, these 6 sages are hidden around the Pokemon map. And first of all, we go to the left here and on to Route 17 and 18. Now, these sages, they are worth finding because, well, you do get a very useful TM off each of them. But yeah, if you're wondering, I did actually use a guide to find these sages, just cause. Just because I'm being lazy, I suppose. But honestly, other than that, I'm not sure how you were supposed to find them. I guess by trial and error. Or I guess if you talk to people, they'll eventually tell you where all the others are. Now, this is the route where we got the egg for Larvesta, which you could have chosen to raise if you wanted to, but yeah, I decided to just catch the final form in the desert resort, which is coming up in the next part, I believe. Oh, people's hearts and people's feelings and all that. TM32, double team. It raises your evasiveness, so your enemy's attacks will probably miss. A move which is banned in tournaments for that reason. Although I remember when I first started playing Pokemon Generation 1, and I tried to use the double team to cheese my way through battles, and it really doesn't work as well as you think it would. And of course now Looker turns up after we've done the task. Thanks, Looker, you were really useful. Now we fly off to Straighten City, and at this point we can now enter the Dream Yard, which is an area I think was in part 2 or 3 of this LP here. So yeah, this is getting quite nostalgic. But now we go to this side here, and we'll notice that the traffic cone is missing. I would have thought they would have given us like a TM to get rid of traffic cones, or whatever. Now, the awkward thing from this point on is that I have to include a lot of the battles, because they introduce new Pokemon we haven't seen before. Usually previous generation Pokemon, which we're about to see when we fight these guys. And these guys will typically use Psychic type Pokemon, like we have a Drowsy here, who I'm not sure what he's meant to be based off. I think he's sort of meant to be based off a hippo. I mean, that snout, I know that some primates have that sort of nose, some sort of baboon, but I like Drowsy. He looks like he's been dipped in chocolate. Of course, a Generation Psychic type Pokemon, so yeah, it would be a pretty good idea to use that guy in Generation 1. And now we're introduced to his evolved form, Hypno. A rather creepy looking Pokemon, and it doesn't have by his Pokedex. That says he goes into, he essentially kidnaps children with his powers. Very similar to the entry on Chandelure, who apparently lures children as well, so yeah, kids need to watch out in the Pokemon universe. Unfortunately, in this generation I have a Dark type, so yeah, your Psychic type isn't broken now. And this is the other Pokemon the trainers will use here, Musharna. Because apparently that's its gimmick, or its hangout place. And something you'll notice too is that the Warthog one are like level 60 plus. So yeah, I hope you've been grinding a little bit. I was saying that all the Pokemon trainers you'll meet from now on are level 60. Oh, and this is a fairly annoying trainer here. These ones will actually run away from you, and you have to sort of catch them off guard. I think I eventually realised that it's best to stand at a corner and wait for them to come to you. But yeah, this is fairly weird for a Pokemon game, to have a trainer that's reluctant to fight you. I know here's Poliwhirl, a water type from the first generation, who apparently can hypnotise people with its swirly guts, because that's what those swirls represent, their innards. But I guess out of the frog Pokemon, they're probably my favourite. Well, I was saying that, who knows what frog he will evolve into. Hurricane, a very powerful flying type move, but I think it's got like a negative effect, so I don't bother using it. Parasect, a grass bug type, so 4 times weak to flying. Good boy, Parasect. It's fairly weak for battling, but it does have uses when capturing wild Pokemon. It knows lots of status moves. It can also learn Full Swipe, so there you go. Well, you can see Musharna is very defensive. And it burned me as well with its synchronised ability, so quite useful against status users. At least I'm getting some grinding experience out of these battles. They're leveling up fairly quickly. I'm trying to think what this place is, this building, and I don't really have an explanation. Hello, Tommy. Tommy, can you hear me? Anyway, Beldum here. Now this is a Psychic Steel type, which is actually a really good combination, because Psychic and Steel like remove each other's weaknesses, a lot of them. So effectively, he's only weak against ground and fire. Now the evolved form, Metatang. Oh, Jack Black, you are so useful. And Beheeyem, the sort of psychic alien type. Apparently his name's taken from BHM or BHY or something, which is meant to be like a light thing. Yeah, whatever. Look here, I'll get a critical hit here, because yeah, my Pokemon are actually quite under-leveled for this battle here. Oh, Ranunculus. Now you're just being Ranunculus. But yeah, again, lots of psychic types. I get it. That's the gimmick of this area. But then again, I better watch out. He has quite high special attack. Let's hope he doesn't know an electric move. Oh, what? Dizzy Punch? Are you kidding me? And there, you see, that's why I'm the Pokemon Master. And you're walking around this cellar here. Oh, now something you might have noticed here, which I'm surprised I didn't bring up earlier, is the fact that I turned off battle animations. Now, I did this when I had to recreate my previous game, because of an error, of course. So I turned off the battle animations, just so the battles go a bit quicker as I'm grinding through. And I forgot to turn them on again, but I don't think I do turn them on again for a while. But that's just because I have so many battles I have to get through. And by the way, run for your life, it's a fairy type. Jigglypuff, man, is going to wreck our shit. You know, when it comes to these fairy types, I hope some of them are fairly fast. Because otherwise, them being strong against dragon types isn't really going to be a huge issue. X-Scissor, you gotta love it. Now, I think at some point Galvantula can learn Signal Beam, but I think X-Scissor is better because I think he has a higher attack than special attack. Ah, gotcha. Hang on, is her name Future? But anyway, here we have Natu, a Psychic Flying type from Generation 2. And there he goes. I guess Psychic Flying is a good combination, because it means he's not weak against Bug. But then again, he's weak against Rock, Ice and Electric. But, oh well, there you go. Now here's Banette. Interestingly enough, it's a physical Ghost type. And the thing is, before the special and physical split in Generation 4, essentially all Ghost type moves were physical, which I can only guess that's because Lick was the only Ghost move. Well, one of the only 2 Ghost moves in Generation 1, but anyway, it was a physical Ghost type attacker, but Ghost was moved to special, so I guess it got slightly nerfed. Oh, but then again, I'm reminded of moves like Ghost Punch and Shadow Claw, so I guess it does have a few of those useful moves.